Hello and welcome back to a Mindful Minute. My name is Holly Duckworth, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you Ann Berger. Ann is the former Chief of Pain and Palliative Care at the National Institutes of Health, and she has said a very generous yes to serving as the Scientific Committee's Executive Officer for the American Mindfulness Association. And thank you for your yes, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
Yeah, so we've been working behind the scenes, as you know, really exploring the need for better communication and exploration on mindfulness research, and mindfulness being a really broad umbrella term for the various ways we can live our life. And so we're going to embark upon a new initiative at the American Mindfulness Association called a journal club. And I know these are very common in your world. Tell us a little bit about what is a journal club and how can we become a part of this conversation to integrate more research into this conversation about mindfulness?
Okay, so journal clubs are very, very common in academic environments, and it's not only for researchers, it's actually for the clinicians, the practitioners. It's essentially a dedicated meeting where researchers, clinicians, whoever gather to discuss publications from peer-reviewed journals. And the meetings help those in the field keep up to date with current findings. It helps with collaboration in terms of both practice as well as any further research. And research, I think of, particularly in this field, can be randomized controlled trials, but actually it's not necessary. It's not totally necessary to have the randomized controlled trials. From 2000 to now, it went from almost no trials to thousands of scientific trials. And so some of it now, I think, is taking the information from those trials to clinical practice, to practice in the workplace. And rather than repeat a trial, it's really looking at outcomes. So in our journal clubs, we should be looking at what is the research out there, and then how do we, as practitioners, as clinicians, bring that into our area, whether it's in a hospital, in a pharmacy, with teachers, with policemen, in transportation. It doesn't really matter what area you work in. It Journal Club teaches practitioners to search for interesting articles representing best evidence to inform the clinical practice. It clearly encouraged reading and appraising publications, the strength and weaknesses of a research paper. It encourages practitioners to think of outcomes and maybe do further clinical research and or outcome studies. And outcome studies is really looking at what you're doing as you practice and as you teach the practice, and to improve leadership and aid in peer mentoring. So those are the big reasons of why we do journal clubs and why journal clubs have been around in the academic world forever. I mean, as long as there's been medicine, with Osler.
Well, and we're so excited to have you shepherd these conversations. We're going to be doing these on a bi-monthly basis on kind of hot topics and emerging topics, sometimes controversial topics. This is supposed to be an invitation for us to advance our credibility as an industry and a profession. Now, as you know, I don't come out of the academic world, and we're inviting both academics and non-academics, all players in this advancing mindfulness industry, to the conversation. If we're not familiar with this concept, this is brand new, what would be one tip you might give us so we can prepare to this conversation?
So Again, it's not just for researchers. So like I ran a
Yeah.
department where I had researchers in my department because I had a whole research branch where I was doing research, including research in mindfulness and different mindful modalities, but also clinicians. I mean, the bigger part of my department were clinicians, and these were clinicians in palliative care, but clearly mindful principles were very important both for themselves as well as for their patients and families. And the goal really is to get the article, which the moderator will send out before, and read it. So you have a general idea of what's going to be presented, because what's going to happen is the moderator will spend the first half of a journal club actually presenting what was in the article, summarizing the article, summarizing the results, the strengths and weaknesses, the conclusions, and then there will be discussions of, you know, what your thoughts are on what the research showed. And, you know, you might not agree with some things, and that's okay. Your practice may have shown you different things in the results of this study. That the whole goal is, again, to learn from each other and to collaborate. It's essentially, think about it as a way to learn from each other. So any moderator that's presenting shouldn't present this on a level that everybody in the room wouldn't understand it. You know, I would suspect that we will probably not have statisticians in the room. So we're not going to go at great length into the statistic part. I've been fortunate enough to work with statisticians in my research studies, and clearly her understanding of any of the stats is far more than my understanding. In journal clubs here, I think, you know, we need to just know what statistics were done, but we don't have to have this huge understanding of it. We just need to understand what the study said. And the whole goal is to present it in a way that anyone can understand that, even if they didn't do mindfulness.
Oh, well, I would think, and I'd be curious your thoughts, that if one was going to join the American Mindfulness Association in these conversations, there's really maybe just two things to think about. One is be mindful. When you commit to come, be fully present. You know, put your ears on and listen. And then the second piece of sort of being a mindful person is to be curious. You know, grab the research, do your best. Some of these will be a little bit easier to digest. This reading journals may be something totally new for you, and we want to honor wherever you are in this journal club process, that the American Mindfulness Association, in the journal club, we can learn and grow and advance this profession together. Does that seem like two good tips? Be mindful and be curious.
That's absolutely, I would say the same thing. And in terms of being mindful, since we've now, you know, we've now gone from a lot of in-person things to more hybrid and or online, and these are going to be online. Being mindful is having your video on. Not having videos on is not being mindful, because you're paying attention to a lot of different things. And I find it's difficult to have the group participation that you need, the collaboration, the community.
Well, we love that idea too. And we love seeing your smiling faces. Come as you are. Again, you know, you don't have to be fully dressed or hair or makeup or whatever. Again, mindfulness. Be authentically who you are. Bring your authentic questions so we can continue to advance this work. And we are so grateful for your years of experience, expertise, your passion for this topic, and your willingness to help us to shepherd the American Mindfulness Association and the library of research forward. And we know that there's more research coming out each and every day. And as a member of that committee, we'll work together to curate some of those hot topics. You can look for those, the April topics, as well as each and every topic and the registration form to sign up on the American Mindfulness Association website. We'll put the link to the most current journal club in the comments. And anything else you'd like to say before we let our listeners go?
Well, I'm honored to be part of this, and I'm excited to see everybody attend the first inaugural Journal Club in April.
Thank you so much. We'll see you there.